5 years ago, I made the hardest call of my life. I decided to shut down a pretty successful one-to-one personal training gym that I had started back in 2017. And out of the back of the pandemic, I realized that in order for me to get something that I didn't have, something that I want and desired, a team, a business that didn't operate around me, I had to change something. And that's when I decided to kill the thing that had given me so much purpose, given me so much drive, hunger, given me so much in terms of being able to afford to buy my first home, have lovely things. I met my partner, and I decided to shut it down in order to take the biggest risk, which was to open up a new space and go after a new vision to build the #1 small group personal training gym, which is now what you see today, T2 Fit. And I'm sitting here in Turkey on a family holiday. I've just trained. The girls aren't up yet. And I thought I'd come and speak to you guys about the 5 biggest lessons since opening that studio in 2021. The first lesson I've learned over the past 5 years is that you need to hire for potential, not just what's on a CV. Every single month, we get lots of different applications for people wanting to work with us, whether it's coaches in our sales or marketing department. And the fundamental truth is that we always come back to what this person is able to contribute to our team, to our culture, and our community, not what's on the CV. That's probably the last thing I look at. The first thing I look at is, how do they show up on a call? How do they communicate? When they come down to the gym, how do they introduce themselves? How do they connect with the community? People who come in and want to have a job with us and want to work and contribute to the mission and vision, we put them through various challenges. They have to come in for at least 3 sessions. They have to come into a coach's meeting if they come to the next stage. They have to go and deliver a session with a few members if we get them to the next stage. Because at each phase, we're not looking at what they've got on the CV. We're looking at how do they curate an experience based on them not having much experience in T2 Fit. And if somebody can come in and do a great job without actually being employed yet, without having the role and actually having to work for it, it means that we're able to pull back the curtains and see the layers that we really need to see without just being blindsided by somebody's career of 20 years, having worked at 3, 4, 5 high-end gyms. The truth is, 3 months into the role, suddenly we're realizing why that role was never held down for longer than 12, 24, 36 months. And when I think about the team members that have been able to contribute the most and the team members that are still with us today, they're always the individuals who are able to show up no matter what. And we've had team members, like I mentioned, who have literally come out of their qualification and been able to contribute more than team members who have been in roles for the last 15 to 20 years. And ultimately, it comes down to the habits that person has built. And I'm here in Turkey with the family, and I think about what the team members here are able to create, which is an experience. It's not about their experience, it's about the experience that they're able to cultivate. It's being able to over deliver. It's being able to always exceed expectations. When somebody needs something, we're able to do it. When somebody is coming in and having a low day, I'm talking about a member, we're able to put an arm around the shoulder and make sure that they leave that session feeling a million times better than when they walked in. It's about getting somebody their PB and celebrating the freaking hell out of it. These are the most important parts that we're looking at in a team member, that sometimes somebody with more experience has created bad habits and ultimately getting in their own way when it comes down to what we're here to do, which is to create amazing experiences that people want to keep showing up for so they continue to achieve life-changing results. So that's number 1. When it comes to hiring, hire for potential, not what's on the CV. Lesson number 2, listen up. This is important. A less impressive promise kept is more important than an impressive promise you cannot keep. I hope you got that. As we started to grow and as we started to build momentum, we started to add more. And we got to a point where we couldn't deliver on things at 100% of the time. And when your service becomes dependent on individual talent or promises that happen sometimes, birthday cards that you sometimes give out, 300 club t-shirts that sometimes get delivered and sometimes don't, sessions that sometimes run and sometimes don't, you start to lose trust. And when you lose trust, you start to lose clients. So what we realized was that we need to strip things back. When it comes to front end, when it comes to delivering world-class experiences for members, what people are looking for is something they can get 100% of the time. And you never want to be in a position where you're feeling compromised, overwhelmed, because you're having to add all these things that don't even necessarily contribute to the experience being that valuable. You've just added it because it sounded like a nice to have. Maybe it was towels, maybe it was complimentary waters, something that you've overcommitted on. The best thing that you can do is have a really honest conversation with firstly your team around what is important, what do we need to deliver on, the 3 to 5 things that need to be there 100% of the time. Maybe it's the small group PT sessions, maybe it's the conditioning workouts, maybe it's the booking access. What are the 3 things that are most essential that people have, and double down on those 100% of the time. That is how you become more valuable than the gym down the road that's offering 10 more things, but ultimately they're not able to deliver on them 100% of the time, or they're not even that valuable to the client. It may be perceived as more valuable, but clients want predictability, just like you do in your marketing and your sales and in your business. You want things to be predictable, and so do your clients. clients. Predictability is one of the most important things. Like when I'm here in this hotel, right, I want to know that when I go to grab a coffee, it's the same every single time. I don't want someone to make me a coffee at one time and then I get a completely different coffee another time. Or if I go for a meal, I want to know the food's going to come out and it's going to be exactly as I ordered it. I'm not going to have any surprises and suddenly they're like, oh, sorry, we don't actually have that in stock today, or that's off the menu today. We don't want that. We lose trust and it's suddenly like, I wanted that and you're not able to deliver on it. So why are you even offering it? So just remember, like, don't worry about over promising on things. You're actually better off being in a place where you over deliver on the few things that you know you can do very, very well. And ultimately it comes down to that's pretty much exactly what clients want. They don't want something that they don't know what they're going to show up for. Maybe that's a coach, maybe that's a session, maybe that's something you've brought into place that you now know isn't really the thing. For you, it's about sitting down and working out exactly what that looks like and removing it, deleting it, just getting rid of it. It doesn't serve you and the business any longer. And the reason is because you want to double down on these things even better. Lesson number 3, your business cannot be people dependent. It needs to be system dependent, and not the kind of systems where you build 100 playbooks for all the different tasks that you deliver on. I'm talking about the systems that are most important to your business. I've spoken about the YouTube course that I did last year. I spoke about creating your value engines and looking at the most important parts of your system, whether that's delivery, sales, marketing. It's about finding out the 3 to 5 things in each of those departments that cannot be compromised on. Maybe that's the first session that somebody has. Maybe that's the consultation that you do. Maybe that's a sales call that happens. Maybe it's the Facebook ad that you post. They're 4 examples of like the most important systems. For me, coming away on this trip, I remember a time where I'd used to book a holiday in the evening so I could work in the day, and I used to book a trip back in the morning so I could work in the afternoon and evening, because I was people dependent. This was when it was just me, myself, and I. And when I realized that I needed people and then I needed the system so the people could execute the system, that's when everything just started to skyrocket. Since I've been away, people have still been getting results. People have still been delivering sessions. Sales have still been coming in. Posts have still been going out, and everything in the background has been taken care of so that we can continue operating the machine, and the machine doesn't stop because Luke Turner is away. It's the same way that you need to look at your business. We don't want to be people dependent, because as much as we hate to admit it, people do get to a point of where they might transition off, and some of your best people may do that. So it's about creating the system so that people can execute the system. And if for whatever reason that person transitions off, you can essentially hire somebody, going back to part 1, with the potential to come in and execute that system. And there's a freaking amazing quote that I love, which is, good people don't fix broken systems. Broken systems break good people. What that means is that you could have a freaking amazing person come and join your business who, if they had the right system, could go away and execute that 100% of the time. But if you find an amazing team member with tons of potential and they come in and there's a broken system that they're not able to get clarity on what their role is, what they need to do, what success looks like, and they're coming in and having to figure it out, chances are you're not setting them up for success, and that person's going to transition off the team, and ultimately you're going to be in a position where suddenly you're then having to build a system and it's too late. So remember this, you want to build your business so there's a system involved, and to my previous point, lesson number 2, so that you can deliver on that the same way every single time. If things are unpredictable, if things aren't being followed, if there's not a system that's being followed, that means that each time something is done, it's going to be done differently, which means that the experience is going to be different every single time somebody comes in and has that session, whether they have that or they're looking at a social media post, or they're on a sales call and suddenly it's a 5-minute phone call and all you've done is told them about the price and what you actually do without even going into the discovery and finding out whether this person's even a good fit. Make sure that you build the system around the most important parts of the business. So don't shut the whole company down for a week to build out all the playbooks. We've done that. It doesn't work. Nobody follows it. We have about 16 master playbooks that we follow with the most important parts to the business. These playbooks are pretty long, but if somebody was to jump in, they'd be able to understand exactly how to operate a certain system inside the business. The most important part of it, a sales call, a Facebook post. That's exactly how you build the system, and the people then build the business using the system. Lesson number 4, until your best month becomes the new average, it's not the standard yet. It's important you realize that, because I've been there. I've been a bit cocky. We set a target, we exceed it, and suddenly you start thinking about all the shiny objects you're going to buy. The equipment, the new team member, the new software you wanted to invest into. And then you're left in a position where the following month, maybe it's the July and August, where revenue takes a dip, and suddenly you're standing there thinking, shit, we're compromised here. You never want to be in that position. And one of the ways we combat that is with our cash flow. We look to break it into 5 different bank accounts: emergency funds, income accounts, operational expenses, taxes, everything like that, so that we never have any surprises, which is important. For example, if we do have any excess capital and we've hit a big target and maybe we've hit a big month, we always look to make sure that we funnel that money into a place of where we don't get distracted, especially as a founder, and you start to think about where you could spend this money. You need to be in a place where you make sure that you don't make decisions until that new target you've hit, that new revenue new milestone that you've exceeded comes the new normal for at least 4 months. 4 months is our way to know that this is now the new average. This is now the new normal. My goal in sales is always to go to the sales team and say, you know those X amount of people you just brought on board? That's now the new low. That's now the new normal. It isn't like, oh, we hit a record month. That's now our normal. I don't know about you guys, but I want to make sure that this is something we exceed every single time, whether we need to employ another person in 4 months time, or whether it's about us bringing in a new system or bringing in something that's going to allow us to condense that and essentially accelerate it. You want to ensure that when you hit a new milestone, when revenue grows, which it should be every single month, you never want to be in a place where suddenly you're compromised and you're having to go back on promises that you made. It's funny how all these lessons kind of intertwine to each other. Don't get distracted. You hit a new milestone, amazing, freaking celebrate for a day, but then get back to work, get back to the hustle, and get back to doubling down on what worked to get you there. Don't get distracted by, oh, we need another team member. Oh, get to the point where things are breaking, then freaking do it, because you never want to be in a position, especially as a small business and running a gym, where your operational expenses getting out of control and you're having to backtrack and even take away promises that you made to clients based on revenue targets that you hit because you got distracted. Equipment that you promised was going to be in, and then suddenly you're like, fuck, I don't know if we can commit to that much. Or a team member you said you were going to give a role to, and then suddenly you land in August and you're like, I don't know if we can afford to do that now. Ensure. The new milestone you've just hit becomes the new normal. It's the new average for at least 4 months before starting to change your burn rate. Your burn rate is essentially how much money, how much capital you're burning through every single month. Don't let that grow until you've hit consistently 4 months at that new milestone. That's lesson number 4, and that could freaking save your business. All right, let's go into the last one. 5 years, 5 lessons. I hope you're enjoying this. Make sure you subscribe. Lesson number 5. To predict the future, you have to study the past. And I'm not just talking about financial crises, recessions, freaking COVID-19. I'm talking about the data that you track, or it's the data that your team and head of departments track every single week. Data, as you grow and as you have more direct reports and you have more department heads reporting to you, is fundamentally going to be one of the most important aspects of your business and you being able to operate in the best way as a CEO and founder. Because if you're making decisions blind and you're not looking at making a decision in the business based on some number that you've been bought or you've tracked and pulled, it's a guess and it's a risk. If you're in a place where suddenly you don't know what you're trying to improve and you're not tracking that number, you're going to be in a place where you don't even know whether or not that was worth it. At the early stages when you first start your business, you're always going to be in a position where you're making decisions based on the gut, and that's kind of cool. That's fine. That will get you to one level, but to get through the next level and the next level and the next level and the next level, and you break through ceilings consistently, and you're in a position where you're in a gym that's constantly thriving, and maybe you're then looking at site 2 and then maybe site 3, that's all done because you followed the data and you've looked at the numbers. You can look at trends. You can look back at 2025 and say, we've got a low month coming here. Usually these 3 months are the best quarters of the year. That's when you can start to push for growth. That's when you can start to think about being strategic. That's an important word here, strategic. When you think about a Jeff Bezos, you think about an Elon Musk. These guys look at the data, they look at the numbers and think about what needs to be improved. There's an incredible book called The Goal. Go and grab it. And what they talk about in that, it's a freaking amazing book. Jeff Bezos makes every single executive read that book before starting in Amazon. The key lesson is fix the bottleneck. Fix the thing that's broken. And for you to be able to fix something, improve something, you need to be able to track the data. Like right now, we're currently in Operation 320. So Q2, we always themed our quarters. And this quarter has been about achieving our biggest membership base that we've ever had. So we're just under 300 at the moment. We're looking to get to 320. We've had an increase of 22 members already since the beginning of April. And the only reason we're able to hunt and like push for growth and make certain decisions around that 320 number is because we've looked at the data from Q1. If we continue to run the same campaigns and keep the same amount of people in the business, we're not going to hit the 320. So what does that mean? Everything around that goal needs to change. We need to be more aggressive with our sales. We need to be more aggressive with bringing more people on board. We've gone from onboarding 20 new people a month to 35 new people a month. We've gone from having our retention rate at 3.5% to try and get it below 3%. We can only predict and put a good strategy in place when we have the numbers. So when it comes down to you making decisions in the business, always come back to this question, which is, what is the one number here that I can impact to be sure that I know I hit this goal? And then being able to review that number from the past and knowing how you can improve it, because what gets measured gets managed. One of my favorite quotes. There's 5 years, 5 lessons. I could tell you another 100 lessons. They were most important based on the gym owners that I speak to and the lessons that I feel are most important right now to the people that I speak to on a day in, day out basis. And I hope you gain value from those. So listen, here's what I'd love you to do. Jump over to my Instagram. If you're not already following me, drop me a follow, Luke Turner _official. Drop me a DM and and just let me know what was the biggest standout for you. I'd love to know. And if you gain value from this video, remember, don't forget to subscribe and like it so I know this is the stuff you want me to create more of. I'm on holiday with the famo at the moment. We're gonna head to breakfast now. The girls are probably getting up. It's just coming up to 8 o'clock in the morning. We're gonna be jumping down some slides. We're gonna be going to the beach. When you've got 2 girls under 4, it's pretty full on. All right, team, have a great one.